Good morning and welcome to Get Real Good. Yesterday we talked about sleep. Seems apropos to talk about morning routines today, so let's get into it. We've all got different goals, different amounts of free time, different times we wake up, and different amounts of free time in the morning. Some of us have work, some of us don't work. Right now, for me, I'm on leave, so I have as much time as I want. I can wake up anytime I want. That gives me the freedom to go ahead and try different morning routines, get into things that work, and then later optimize them and try to shrink them down so that they'll fit before work once I go back to work sometime in July. My personal goals come from some sort of philosophy that the optimal activities and order of activities will really help me get into my best mindset and my healthiest body each and every day. And that if I do these things consistently, they'll turn into habits and I will not have to exercise as much willpower and self-control. I'll be able to exercise that willpower and self-control elsewhere while my morning routine has been turned into a habit and I'm optimized for the middle part of my day. So the first thing I do every morning is I return to myself, come to the present moment. I notice my own somatic experience, my body, my feelings, my emotions. If I notice myself thinking, I bring myself back to myself. If I notice myself considering other people, friends, family, relationships, work, or anything that you might be attached to, you might have a video game addiction or a TV show that you want to watch, keep bringing it back to myself, bringing it back to myself, bringing it back to myself. That experience has gotten easier for me over time, and now I tend to actually feel it down here in my sort of heart space, which I used to think was sort of a wives' tale, but it's become very real for me. So I know I'm doing it right when I don't feel like I exist in my head, and I'm certainly not out thinking about something. It'll almost be like waking up from dreams, noticing that I'm thinking about something else, I'm distracted by something else, and then I'll return to myself and I'll be with my body. That gets better and better over time to the point where I can stay with my body. And then I can move on through a few of the small, obvious morning tasks like hit the bathroom, take care of the teeth, get a glass of water, and then we move into the next step. The next step is meditation. I come sit out here like this, and I'm still staying with my somatic experience, but I sit here and I meditate, and I keep my eyes closed. I think that my eyes are heavily attached to my mind, and so I leave them out as well. Another part of the sensory experience and arguably somatic. But at this point, I find them to be distracting, and I find it helpful to keep my eyes closed. And so I sit into meditation and go even deeper into my body. I check in, I relax and release things, and I start a process with myself that a friend and I have developed and named Uncovery, which we can go into more in another episode. But essentially, it's noticing what's alive for us now in the present moment, being with it, and noticing both how it shifts and changes into different layers as though an onion of somatic experience is peeling back, but also noticing the stories that are behind it, the stories and beliefs that are coming up behind it. And it ends up sort of being like a self-therapy that once you get good at it, it can just sort of rapidly be relieving whatever it is that you're stuck on and looping on. And pretty good, real good, powerful stuff. So after keeping my awareness with my body through that first 20, 30 minutes, then we start to actually move into a bit of kinetics. We actually move the body a bit and absolutely forget Western or American workout concepts. It's 99% overblown. Start with gentle physical therapy. If you've got anything that's not feeling well, address it. That should be absolutely your first priority. It's probably not the most fun. It might be the least fun. Maybe you're supposed to be foam rolling your iliotibial bands, or maybe you've got some back work to do. Maybe you got lower back and some micro crunches that you should be doing. For me right now, I'm working on one of my toes. And then once I've worked on the toe, I head out for a short walk to a pull-up bar. It's actually an old swing set out in the field out over that away. And I work on my shoulders and my shoulder blades hanging, stretching. So physical therapy first, and that might be all that you need to do. Really, if you've done 20 solid minutes of bodily warm-up, a little bit of walking, it's time to start leaning into stretching, or you can get right back into meditation if that works for you. I actually like to head in and take a cold shower, which is a new addition. Let's talk about that for a second. So after I've spent so much of the morning, I mean, we're talking an hour at this point, maybe an hour and a half, or on a marathon body day, it'd be 2 hours of time in my body, with my body, in a sort of meditative state. I like to sort of start kicking it into high gear, and you can jumpstart that by taking a cold shower. So I do it for maybe 20, 30 seconds, not a big deal. And then I get out and then I start eating. I find if I eat before I take the cold shower, it kind of mixes things up because the food still has a slightly sedative effect. Whereas I like taking the meditative body and the internal heat that's been generated, take it to the cold shower. Then it sort of wakes me up into my mind. Then I go enjoy making healthy choices in the kitchen. So let's go to the kitchen. Okay, so unfortunately the power is out today for maintenance, but I can show you a little bit. So for breakfast, some sort of smoothie with some turmeric and vegan proteins, green powders. Take fish oil and some kind of multivitamin, as well as I'm also taking this Juice Plus stuff. Oatmeal with almonds, hemp seeds are fantastic. Any sort of nuts are pretty good. I said pretty good, sorry about that. And fruit, we've got oranges, avocados, apples, grapes, mangoes, bananas, all sorts of things. And even better than regular fruit is berries. I don't know if you can see this. We've got blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and even better than berries are all the greens. We've got asparagus and leafy greens and a little bit of mushrooms and carrots. And then in there is quinoa or beans. That's about it. There's not a great reason eating anything else. Cut out all of the processed sugars. Eat real food. Eat fruits and vegetables and berries. I do eat eggs and fish and red meat sometimes. It's all delicious. Almost every meal. Almost every day I'm having meat. That's it. It's not that complicated, to be honest. It's really, a lot of this stuff is about self-control and willpower. Some of this stuff is quite nuanced, and I think that the stuff that's nuanced will come up for you once you've taken care of the most important things. So for example, your diet is one of the most important things. If you really simplify this morning routine, it's get up, move your body, eat healthy. And then you can start optimizing once you start noticing your own somatic experience and all of this stuff, and you start to get a more subtle sense of what's going on. But for the diet, it's not super complicated. Stop eating sugar and work from there. You don't need to worry about, organic and getting to the farmer's market and all that other stuff that we do out here right now. Take care of the first things first. And if you're doing even more unhealthy things than eating sugar, then those things need to go first. But that can all be... we can talk about bad habits in a different episode. And we'll talk about nutrition and food in a different episode too. This one's about a morning routine, so let's get back to it. All right. So especially when I'm building new habits, I keep notebooks. Keep a little pocket notebook with me at all times. It helps me write down my ideas, get them out of my head and clear the head space so there's room for more ideas. Also, it's nice for checklists. Every night before I go to bed, I write out what I need to do the next day, starting on the morning routine. And then after we do everything we've talked about, so we wake up, we move our bodies, and we go ahead and eat healthy, then it's time to dive into the most important task of the day. Not necessarily the most urgent. This is the most difficult thing that you've been putting off, the most important thing that you could possibly do. We lean into that, okay? What's an example of this? I don't know, doing your taxes. How long have you been putting that off? Maybe, I don't know. So for me, something I've been resisting quite a bit is getting back into my coding work. So much technology, laptops, hard drives, monitors, indoors, outdoors. Yeah, I just love being out here in nature and getting in touch with my somatic body. But I need to start working back into getting ready for the big bucks and getting back to my job. So that's going to be where I start to lean a lot of my energy and get that first stuff done. Other examples, and actually, here's a little catch. I do like to insert small important tasks that I wouldn't otherwise get to. This could be little things like maybe you haven't checked your email inbox in a while, so clear that out. Or little things like that keep slipping by, and you're like, I really need to get this done. Slip one of those in if it only takes 10 or 20 minutes, and you still have the vitality to get through that and move into whatever it is that's going to be your big, important focus for the next. And I'm talking big, important, like, might take a while. Taxes take a while. Coding work might take a while. So something that's meaty, an hour, a few hours. Let's see if there's anything else we need to cover. So another thing I haven't touched on is stay off of your devices. When you wake up, don't check your phone. Don't go get on the computer. Wake up. I keep myself with myself, my somatic present experience in my body. I keep myself with that experience while I hit the bathroom, take care of my teeth, grab a glass of water, and then go sit down to meditation. After meditating for a while, I start to move into physical therapy. If I have no physical therapy to do, I move into preventative. After all of the preventative, I go ahead, take a quick cold shower, and then start to eat a healthy breakfast. After the healthy breakfast, we lean into maybe a small important task, and then we get into the big, juicy, important hour or longer task for the day. Only after all of that do I get on my phone. So maybe the big important task requires you to get onto a device, that's fine. But not until you've gotten through all of that, then feel free to reward yourself with your phone, with your laptop, or whatever else that it is that you like to do. So it's only really after I've gotten all this stuff done that I'll go through and attempt to reply to all the messages that I've received. Sometimes I only get around to a couple platforms. Do you, whatever works. Let's see. That's about it for morning routine. I mean, that gets us pretty much from wake up, approaching afternoon. I'm curious about your morning routines. What are the most important steps that work for you? I'm really curious if any of you go ahead and give this a try, or if you've got any questions about some of this stuff, feel free to ask. Go ahead and write it in the comments, and let's get the discussion going. And I'll try to answer all the messages here as well every afternoon when I get around to it. So yeah, if you guys got value out of this, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you'd like to see something a bit different or want me to go into something in a bit more detail, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. We're going to keep going into sleep. We've done sleep, morning routines. I'm excited to start going into all kinds of stuff. There's juicier things, but I kind of want to set the basis. I think it's important to set a basis that starts with sleep, morning routines, your body. But I'm excited to get into relationship dynamics, especially our relationship with ourselves, somatic practices, and uncovery. I'm excited to get into money. There's so much that we get to do together. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit like if you got value out of this video. This has been real good. I'll see y'all again soon. Take it easy. Bye. Okay, I found an important underlying theme. So I think an overarching principle for my ideal morning routine is staying with self as long as possible and delaying interacting with external influence, especially complex factors like social or the media and the news. So what that looks like for me is right from the start when I wake up, I come to myself, I return to myself, and I stay with the simplest form of myself, my body. And I do it as long as possible. First, just being with my body, then moving with my body in really gentle, respectful, therapeutic ways. the cold shower to wake up, the healthy food. And then I'm starting to doubt getting into the errands or the tasks or the important tasks or anything like that at that point. I'm actually starting to feel like it might be optimal, if you've got the time, to stay with yourself still, but now move into your projects. So stay with yourself before you get sucked into the matrix, into the social drama, into the news and media drama. Stay with yourself, stay with your projects, and begin to go into those with your somatic joy and the vitality you've built up through your meditation, your cold shower, your bodily health and warm up, and the food that you've eaten that's nice and healthy. Also, you could do reading if that works for you, if you're not working on any projects. I'm going to go keep working on this concept, and I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, I'm getting really excited about this concept of staying with self as long as possible, as much and as long as possible, not only for a morning routine, not only for each day, but almost as a lifestyle. I used to identify as an introvert, and in the last decade have moved into the subjective and relational and highly value community, and even have dreams of conscious community and pulling that together in a really big, strong, deep, positive way, in a real good way. Yeah, but in my morning routine, in my daily routine, and maybe even as a lifestyle, I think there's strength in keeping with self as much as possible, starting from the most simple in the morning with the body, and establishing a healthy body as a strong foundation, moving the body, feeding the body, and then gently moving into the feelings and emotions, probably with some uncovery process, and maybe being with that as long as necessary, minutes, hours, and then moving into projects, personal projects, allowing the mind to be in that sort of creative dream state. And all of this before touching any devices, before calling anyone or responding or even looking at any messages or news. And only as late as possible in the day, go ahead and start to move out into the chaotic external. Let's see how this goes. I'm really excited. Hopefully we'll do a follow-up video on how this is going later on. We will do a real good follow-up video. All right, more soon. A couple more things to share. As I've branched out and connected with some others today, one person brought in a really uniquely youthful, uncontained creative imagination. And my interaction with this person opened that up to me. I spend a lot of time really digging reality. And even in my brainstorms where I think I'm being fantastic and wild, they're still kind of grounded in what I feel is feasible. So it's really interesting to sit in both my discomfort and extreme gratitude as this person was sharing this absolutely positive fantasy that I didn't think could possibly come to be, and slowly gain some openness in myself to positive creative fantasies. So also, I'm about to lean into our weekly conscious men's group meeting, and there's fire coming up. And I'm noticing each week this group has brought up a lot in different ways. Sometimes it feels better than others or healthier than others. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for right exposure to right external chaos. But I'm also glad that I've waited until the evening to do this. I'm very grateful for the staying with myself through most of the day. And I'm really excited to keep implementing that principle in my morning routines and possibly shape my life around it. So let's see, let's keep in contact. Obviously subscribe, comment, and if you got any value out of this, hit that like button. This has been real good. I'll see you soon. Bye. All right. It's late, but before I sign off, I just wanted to reflect how proud I am of this conscious men's group that's been meeting weekly. Went through a really turbulent last meeting and had some membership changes that admittedly I think were overdue. And now the group is blasting off. I feel so much integrity in these men, buy-in into somatic sharing and self-exploration, and not coaching and caretaking each other. And I think this is so powerful. Really grateful for it. So when you do finish your morning routine and finish being with yourself and branch out, I hope that you find right company. I hope that we find right company. I hope that we create right company. And that starts with doing the self-work. So I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. This is Real Good. Signing off. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.